Get this meeting in motion here. Call the facilities meeting to order this morning. Everyone would join me in rise from the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, does anybody have anything they need to add or remove to the agenda?
I just gotta double check here. I'm trying to open my stuff up. I did want to talk about the MMP, but I think we may have to push that off because we didn't get
No,
that.
not yet.
Yeah, so there was one other thing. Let me just see what I have here. Oh, did the Northern Lights Arena, the addendum, did we need to discuss that?
I don't know if we need to discuss it or if we just need to update the signature page.
Just right?
Update the signature page.
Okay, okay. That was the only other thing. So I guess we're good.
Okay. Okay, I'll look for a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
Okay, we've got a motion made by Commissioner Fournier and support by Commissioner Kozlowski. We'll get things going. We'll start out with Courtney Krantz from the Fair Board.
So good morning. I'm here to talk about a couple of different things. I'm not sure which we want to start with first. Guess we can start with the letter from our lawyer. So the Alpena County Fair Board has been working with a lawyer to basically try and get things as far as our nonprofit status in order. Many of you don't know, but in 2011 with Alpena County Agricultural Society, which is what is in the deed with the fairgrounds and Fair Board, we lost our 501c5 back in 2011 or 2012, one of those years. And under that entity, we are unable to get that status back, mostly because of the embezzlement case and the destruction of many of the documents that we would need to regain that status. So what we have done is created another entity. Basically, it's just the Alpena Fair Society. And what we're looking to do with this letter is we're not asking for anything different than what the deed already states as far as property use and our agreement to what we get to do with the property for fair. All we are asking in this letter is to be able to transfer those assets to the new entity of Alpena County Fair Society. And we will diminish the Alpena County Agricultural Society.
Okay. The only change that I see in here is that, you know, you guys would like to be in a month before and a week after, which we had already talked about in the past. So I think that's good.
Yeah, that was, so that was with the agreement.
Yep, that was something different. So they're asking to change the current contract that you guys have, you're changing to another 503C.
So currently under the deed,
Mhm.
which is an agreement between the Alpena County Fair, well, the Alpena County Ag Society and the county, that is the deed that was written back in like 1904 or something like that. Back in the 1900s, that was written. And in that,
No time.
yes, many years before my time, that was written, and that gave the Fair Board the use of the fairgrounds for 1 week out of the year. As we transition into this new entity of Alpena County Fair Society, we would regain our 501c3 status, but in order to do that, to be able to diminish the Alpena County Ag Society, we would have to have the county sign off on transferring the assets of that deed to our new entity of Alpena County Fair Society.
Okay, so I think that we need to send this to legal review because when I spoke to an attorney about this previously, they had mentioned that we can't give property away with no compensation for county-owned property. And they also said that if we switch this over to a 503C, that we would lose any kind of possession of any property that we had, and we wouldn't be able to get that back.
So just as clarification, this is not like us regaining property at all. This is literally just transferring the current agreement that we have now to the new entity.
Do you have something in writing that you could provide us so that we,
This is the letter that was given actually last month to the commissioners.
Well, isn't that the one that
yeah.
we talked
So I
about?
think that would have to go back for legal review before we could make a decision on that.
Okay.
So if I got it and I gave it to my legal review, would that be good enough?
Sure.
And our lawyer is more than willing to speak with any one of the commissioners as well as your legal.
Okay.
as well. And then I know that there was, I don't exactly remember, but there was some wording in here that a couple of the commissioners did not agree with. He is more than willing to adjust that to something that would make you guys happier.
Okay.
Okay.
And the reason, I guess the reason that we're pushing so hard for this is currently we are unable to apply for grants and we're kind of limited on the amount of fundraisers and things that we can do if we are not nonprofit.
Okay.
Do you even have a contract then right now?
We have an agreement and a contract, yes, under the Alpena Ag Society.
Because I know with this one that we have today is gonna be a 6-year thing. We were doing it before 1 year at a time, and I think we talked, or I know there was a conversation where the longer the agreement, the better for you guys to be able to get those grants or whatever you need. So and I'm not 100% sure, but I always feel like we've been signing that agreement back in February. Is that when it was signed?
Yes, so currently we have an agreement signed with the Alpena Ag Society, excuse me. And actually, so the original agreement we signed in 2023 was a 10-year contract. So it was from 2023 to 2033, and every year then we would just re-sign like the property use agreement.
Yeah.
So that was another question that I had. So I do have that 10-year contract here as well, if anyone would like to see it, which was attached to our invoice for the first quarter of 2024. That contract is a 10-year contract, but then the contract that I received from Kim with the amendment to allow us to use the grounds 1 month before fair instead of 1 week, that one is only a 5-year contract.
Which Kim? We have too many Kims.
Me.
Yeah, Kim, she said, yeah, Kim McCarthy sent it. So that was my other question, is that this new one with the amendment has not been signed by either the county or myself. So I just would like to know if we're doing a 10-year contract or if we're going back to a 5-year contract.
Why, do we know why that changed? Okay.
So if you could send us an email with the old contract and the new contract and the other agreement here. And also just put in the email that you would prefer it be the 10 years as opposed to the 5. And then we can give it all to the attorney at once. So we don't drag this out and make it expensive. You know, that's certainly not what we want to do. We'd like to get this put to bed soon because I know you have things you guys need to get in order as well. So we, you know, on behalf of this group, you know, if you can get that to us sooner than later, well, you know, John and I can review it, get everything in order and get it to the next full board. I think that would be doable, right?
Yes.
We'll get it to the next full board so we can, you know, have something to put before everybody so we can. So, okay, great. If you had any other questions or concerns, we can talk about it now, but if you do, make sure and put them in there as well.
Okay.
So,
I know that on the agenda, there was also an update from the Fair Board as well, so I just have a brief schedule of kind of what we're planning, so everybody kind of has an idea.
great.
We're doing some fun things. I really treat copies.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you.
So those are just the kind of the events that we're planning on doing. This year, Mike is obviously up next to talk about our potential fireworks show. So if there's any questions at all about anything that we're doing, feel free to ask. We're an open book, so.
Awesome.
And then attached is a fundraiser that we would also like to do this year. I did it about 5 years ago, I believe. And we're gonna be fundraising for a new speaker system for the grandstands this year. So
Okay, great. I don't think we have any further questions for you.
It looks like less.
That's it.
I just changed it to a month prior to the fair. What does that entail? I mean, there may be merchant building rentals out there already. There's probably other things that are going on during that.
Oh, we know, yeah, we know that, Wes. All it amounts to is 1 week, so we can get in there, do our work bees and stuff around the current schedule out there. That doesn't, we won't affect anybody that's already rented something or anything like that.
Okay.
It just gives us permission to come in there like and power wash the grandstand.
Like we've always done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that type of stuff.
Did have it in.
I mean, and we've been doing it. We just want it in writing that we have a right to do that, I guess, what it boils down to.
So again, to expedite this for you, maybe you could get with Wes and write this up with a little bit better detail. I mean, you don't have to be extremely specific as to everything that you want to do. Just write it up so you and Wes agree to it beforehand. You know, so if there are rentals, that's laid out, you know, just so it's really clear. And then, you know, that will help alleviate any additional questions at the full board. Again, you know, so we can expedite this.
Okay.
Well, that was one of the things when I went through this, that sentence doesn't really flow too well. It says provide snow plowing maintenance of normal wear and tear for access and, normal wear and tear, comma, access for 1 month before the fair. So yeah, we probably need a little bit more, better detail on that one line,
Okay,
or make it a different line.
Yep.
okay.
Do you want me to email it to, Kim, or do you want me to email it to one of you?
Yeah, I would say
Either Kim or Jennifer,
Commissioner's office, and then they can get it moving.
yeah, they'll send it on to the commissioners group.
Okay.
So, and if you might not hurt just to throw this in at the end. So, okay, well, thank you very much for your time.
Yes.
Come on up, Mike.
Well, I will start with what's here. We're basically fireworks. What it boils down to is that this is the 150th fair this year for Alpena County. And we decided we wanted to do something a little different. So we put together and a guy was going to come and put on a little fireworks show. So when we went to apply for the permit from the city said, we will do that, but in order to do it, they want, because it's the county property, actually. They want in writing from you that you're okay with us having a fireworks show at the end of the fair. And that's basically what that boils down to. They have all the paperwork. They'll sign it as soon as I have something in writing from your minutes or whatever that you are okay with that happening.
Okay,
And I was told I had to come to this committee to present that, so.
okay,
Where were you thinking of having the?
The and I wish I would have, I give all my paperwork to them, but the fireworks company came and looked at the property, and it would go on the shore of the river, basically by the kiddie park. If you can picture where that's at, kind of on that point there, which is as farthest they can get away from everything so we can have our safety berm. And it's all laid out in the paperwork that the city has, the fire marshal has it all right now. And he said, and that's what he told me. He said, is once I had that, then he could, rest of it, he could get taken care of.
okay.
So
Do you cover the insurance? I don't know.
our insurance will probably have a rider, but the company that we hired to do it will have insurance.
Okay.
And that's all in the paperwork that went to the city.
Okay.
Well, we'd probably need,
Should be additional.
we would need the paperwork too.
Can Andy get it? Who would Andy get it to? Because
I also have a copy. I could.
you have copies of all of it?
If you guys could,
Then we can send that also with,
yeah, just send it to the commissioner's office.
yeah, I didn't realize you still had copies, so.
Okay, so yeah, I think it's a great idea and, you know, hinging on what the fire marshal and everybody else has to say.
Yeah, basically Andy said that the city was all good with it. They just wouldn't sign it until they had your say so because you're the property owner.
Okay, so we'll put Courtney to work again. If you could, put your proposal for the full board into two different items. like you did today. If you guys could work together, send, a picture of the map, a picture of the contract from the fireworks folks, the blessing with your insurance company, and maybe, just a quick letter from the fire marshal that he says everything's cool upon our blessing, then we'll, go through that at the full board and, put it up for, to be accepted. I think it's a great idea. I think it's good. I'm glad that the Fair Board is doing things like this. The fair is improving, obviously, and
That's our goal.
and that's because of the Fair Board's effort, and it's finally gaining traction with the community. The numbers are up, the positive feedback is up. So.
Yeah, last year we were real happy with responses we were getting. Everybody seemed to be happy and we're trying to improve every year, which of course takes money and then we're slowly building that up so we can do that.
Sure. Yep. Well, and every year you have more people, you have more money for the following. So great. Well, thanks for making the effort. And if you want, get that put together and send it all, to Jennifer as well. And we'll overlook it and we'll get it on the next full board meeting.
Okay.
Any other?
Yeah, the other request I have is I would like to add more dog ear fencing where we keep putting that temporary fence up. That black mesh that we put up every year.
Yep.
Well, last year we put up the dog ear on the front side, just around the corners. Ideally, I'd like to do the rest of it except for the openings that are needed, of course. Just because our mesh is getting in bad shape and it would cost us almost as much as buying the dog ear. I know Wes would be somewhat concerned, but I would put it in writing that we'd eat around it twice a year or whatever.
It's not just weeding.
I know it does cause, but in my opinion, it looks a lot nicer and it saves us a lot of time.
I remember there was a,
Do is keep the caretaker from seeing part of the back sites from his residence. You don't see much of the campgrounds from the house anyway, but we will do that.
Yeah, well, now the caretaker said he didn't consider that a problem, but yeah, and I understand what you're saying.
well, I remember this came to us before and I can't remember because we had a discussion a while back. And we said no at that time. And I don't know if it was because of the view. I can't remember.
I think we blessed it last year and they put some up.
Well, no, this was when,
Boy, the first time I asked was about 4 years ago.
yeah.
Then last year I asked for a third across the front just to get it going. And you said, yes, we did it. And we've had a lot of people tell us it looks really nice. To be honest, the biggest issue for us is it saves us time and we got to do something, with a hard fence like that. We're not required to double fence it. If we put the mesh up, we have to actually put snow fence up also, because it's a soft barrier. And that's partly because of our liquor license containment area, plus it contains the show areas.
Okay.
So I guess that's my request is to get permission to, if Wes got certain areas that can't be covered up, I'd gladly work with him on that.
So I'll tell you what, why don't you, work with Courtney again, and get me an email with a little map of exactly what you want to do.
Okay.
Where it'll be. And then I'll go over there and Wes and I will look at it together. And if we have questions or concerns, we'll get a hold of you
Okay.
and get this in motion so we can again.
Yeah, and ideally I needed to move, so I got time to get it done because I got to order the product and all that, so.
I don't know if the building inspector contacted you or not, but after that fence went up, it's existing. I was contacted wondering about a permit to put fencing up.
I asked him before we did it and the lady in there told me I didn't need it for what I was doing. Because I'm covering up an existing barricade basically. But no, and I could see going the rest of the way around where that might be needed technically. I will.
I don't know what they're gonna say, but I'll
Yeah.
check with them.
Yeah, yep, I have no problem with that. And if it goes, we'll do that.
So let's not get the cart before the horse. Would you talk to the building inspector before you send the email? Because if for some reason he shuts it down, before Wes and I go out? and-
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll go see them. I don't see a problem.
Okay,
I don't think it's gonna matter. It's just that they may want a permit. And if that's the case, we'll do that.
sure. Yep. And the only other.
And that's, unless somebody's got a question, that's all I had for now.
The only other thing that I remember us talking about before was I don't remember, is that a pine fence or cedar?
That's treated. It's dog ear treated fencing, yes.
Okay, all right. I know that was one question that Wes had before for longevity.
It's dry to here now. It probably needs sealer put on.
Okay, okay. So consider that and, that's something that Wes and I can talk about as well. Maybe we can purchase the sealer if you guys are willing to put it all on every 3 years or something.
Then we can work that out. And like I say, I'm perfectly willing to work out and we'll do a certain amount of labor. That's no problem because in the long run, this is actually gonna probably save us labor. And in the next year or two, we're gonna have to do something. If we have to stay temporary, we're gonna have to probably replace that.
Sure.
Because it's getting so old that it won't stay together.
Right. Yep.
So,
No, I think it looks good. We just have to make sure it works for everybody. And then, we'll get the small issues out of the way and move forward.
will do. I will as far as the building inspector, you want me to just let Wes know or
Just include it with the email that you sent.
include it with the email? Okay.
Yeah, after, take the stuff that you're gonna give to us, get with the building inspector first,
Yep.
and have him throw together a email or whatever that he's good with it, and then just send that with everything to us. And then we'll come out and I'll come out with Wes, we'll take a look and we'll get things taken care of.
Okay.
Very good.
Any others? We're good?
No, I think we're good, unless you guys have any other questions or concerns.
No, I think I'm all set now.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, appreciate it. All right, now we get on with Steve.
Those of you who aren't aware, Fairgrounds was the first airport for Alpena County.
Wow,
I've seen pictures of biplanes that are from the military from like 1923. So who knows, maybe your agreement was made in conjunction with whatever they were doing out there. But that's the fun fact for today.
right?
So the monthly report for March, again, we had 818 enplanements. So we're up to 2008 for the year. The trend, despite some naysayers, the trend is still good. Continue to improve these numbers, especially in June and July when we were closed last year. So we'll pick up 2 more months of business right there. The 700 and 900 series jets are being very well received by the people. They like the extra room. And first class is always available to Detroit, and back. I deleted the section about the FBO charges because there was a lot of confusion amongst the staff about how to record what we were doing. To give you an example, if a single engine airplane comes in, any aircraft that comes in is supposed to be charged a landing fee, and then if they park, they're supposed to be charged a ramp fee as well. But if they take minimum fuel, we waive those because we're making money off fuel sales. So some of the guys, if they took fuel, they weren't supposed to count the airplane. So we're going through a retraining on that, and that section will be back. We're just going to polish up how we collect the numbers. Next is the fuel sales. In March, we pumped 15,524 gallons for the SkyWest contract. Total revenue to date is 15,104 just off the SkyWest. Retail Jet A, that slowed down a little in March, but we still had a grand total for the year to date of 1,833 gallons, $10,037. Retail 100 low lead, that's really going to bump up. This number is good for March, but the ramp has been busy every weekend that the weather's been good. So we have got the customers are returning to us. They're purchasing fuel. We're going to have some pretty good numbers for April. So we've got, even though we got 770 gallons in sales there for a profit of $1,217. Ground fuel, we didn't get an updated ground fuel from AES, the handling service for the airline. But to date, we've got 123 gallons of diesel fuel sold. And for gasoline, we did another 12 gallons for their ground equipment. Total for them is 87 gallons for the year for $123 and $87 respectively. As far as airport equipment status goes, I was just updated this morning that the blower is back in action. So hopefully we'll be getting that back out to the airport just in time for spring. But that is the only piece of equipment that has a deficiency, well, and it doesn't even have a deficiency on it, other than the chemical sprayer on the Oshkosh, and that's getting worked on this week. Next, we go into the basically an activity log, and unless you want to hear all the doggerel of all the meetings I get to attend, I won't go into that. The only bold item is on the 15th of March, we received the EAS bids from Department of Transportation for SkyWest and Boutique Air. But we've already covered that. It's just noted in, this is the logbook for the airport, so we put it in there. Current projects, Remark Airfield markings and the security gate replacement, that one should be closed out hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks. That'll come off. We're still waiting for FAA to get their budget loaded so that we can submit the construct T hangars design, as well as the acquire the SRE, the 2 plows and the snow blower. The runway 119, that was part of the FAA project where the center section of the runway was redone in asphalt. So that is in closeout along with the other 2 grants that are there for the asphalt, the intersection failure. And unless you have any questions, that's all I've got for you.
A couple of questions. The T hanger design, you said that is FAA funded?
That's going to be actually funded by the bipartisan infrastructure law. So that's separate from our AIP, Airport Improvement Program entitlements. It's just we're getting $1 million a year for 4 years. So that money is going to go towards building the T hangars and then building a larger box hangar that would be capable of taking twin engine aircraft.
Okay. And these T hangars are the ones that we'll be building to rent?
Yes.
Okay.
Those
Rent or lease?
Please.
well, rent, because if we go for a lease, that entails like a much longer period of time. But if we rent these out, we can do 1-year rentals on them. So that if we do have somebody that they parked a junk airplane in there and I've got 2 other people that have running aircraft, at the end of the year, we can say, if that plane's not flying by the end of the year, you're out and the next person's in. We want to maintain tight control on these things. So let's put a short term on it. Just put it as a rental.
And how many are they contemplating building?
22 buildings that are going to have 10 nested T hangars in each.
Where are you putting these hangars?
If you've been out to the airport towards the south end, you're going to see that there's, looks like three long driveways there. Those are taxi lanes that were installed probably 20 years ago.
Okay.
It was all before Steve, but about 20 years ago. Those were specifically put in for the construction of T hangars. So that infrastructure is already there. The only thing that we're going to have to do is put in electric, and we may or may not put in natural gas. It all depends. If a person wants to heat their hangar, we're not going to pay for any of it. They want electricity, which they're going to want electricity. They get their own billing from Alpena Power. If they want to have natural gas heat in it, then they can get with the utility and stub it out, put a heater in their hangar.
You have to do any road work in there or any?
No, sir. The traffic for that will come through gates 21 and 22 as it does now. And then they'll just go across the freight ramp up to the hangars.
Are any of those going to be left for short-term rental? Like daily?
It would be nice to have a transient. However, it's not so necessary because the transient that's going to come in is going to be single engine because of the size of the hangars. The guys this is why we want to build the bigger box hangar that we could put the twin engines and such in. Those we could use for transient. But the others, if we can get 20, because we've got 30 letters of intent on file right now. So if we get all 20 of them filled up, let's just do that when we build the bigger hangar. We can use that for transient parking.
Sure. Okay. All right. How is the wood cutting coming along?
They paused for 3 weeks because of, the military was bringing in a bunch of military and police dogs to work. And it was just figured that it'd be better to not have a bunch of people out there while that was going on. So they paused for 3 weeks. They've gone to a different location, but they're going to be coming back in 10 days to set back up. So far, they've cleared all the way around the backside. You can now see munition storage area for the first time in my history. You can sit in my office and look across the runway and see the MSA. So they've paused just to the south of the MSA. And when they come back, they're going to finish cutting out to M32. Then they're going to be going inside the wire and starting to drop all the trees inside the wire.
Okay,
They've already got a significant portion of that cut down along the drainage canal.
I see that.
They're really moving, and hopefully they're probably going to wait until it gets cold again before they cut the approach for runway 7.
That's pretty wet.
It's very wet.
Yeah.
And it's going to be 600 feet wide all the way out to the end of the property line. So about 600 feet by 1,000 feet. Open that up, and then we won't have any future write-ups for obstruction.
And you're staying in contact with Major Hilco about what's being cut and they're cool with all that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
But the only thing they don't want us to touch is their property out on North Point, which we weren't going to go out there anyway.
Okay. Okay. All right. And the last phase of construction has obviously started on the final, piece of the runway. So that's good.
Demolition is almost complete on the south end. I know the top layer's been stripped off and they're working on the bottom layer of concrete. The approach lighting system, that's all been taken down and parted out. The in-pavement approach lights, we already have coordination with the FAA for them to send their inspector. They have to have their inspector every day that we work on the FAA system. The only delay that's looking like for the approach lighting system is the shelter that houses all the equipment for it. These are pre-manufactured pieces, and they're talking there may be a month delay on the one that's supposed to come to Alpena, but it's still, we wouldn't be able to get the approach light certified before the rest of the approach end is done anyway.
Sure. Good. Okay. And the only other question that I had is the diesel. Do you guys sell that to the public?
No,
I'm being sarcastic. You don't have to do. I think your numbers are wrong, because if you're selling for $1 a gallon, I'd like to appointment to come buy some out there. You might want to look at that. You've got 123 gallons for $123.
yes.
So,
Yeah, we only want
What's a deal?
yeah, as I say, I'll be right out.
We only wanted to report what the revenue was coming in. Otherwise, if I give you the whole number, then you're going to get it with taxes, the cost, everything. So we're trying to keep our figures to nothing but the revenue coming.
So the revenue column is actually your net profit column.
Yes, sir.
Wow, okay. Good.
So it was worth the effort to get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's a good margin. Good. Okay, I don't think that I have any other questions or anything.
I get questions. Well, to touch on the wood cutting, I know we talked, and so the plan is that everything on Airport Road on the outside where the recycling facility, where the 6 lots out front, that's all going to be cut as well?
We need to touch base again with Gary Glovey about doing the county property.
Area's doing it?
Yes.
Oh,
So, but I'm sure he'd be willing to do it because they're already there to chew.
tell him I need to talk to him then.
Okay. Yeah, because, the gentleman wants to build the truck stop there.
Yeah, Dwayne
Jennings.
Jennings, yeah. He contacted me and wanted to know if they were going to be able to cut the trees on the MDOT side. It's like, I don't know about that.
Were you saying out by the road?
I am 32.
Yeah, when I talked to MDOT and they said that everything where those lots are out to the road, because I asked specifically, because they said that's their right of way, they said the trees could be cut.
Okay, cool. I can pass that along as well.
And then you said the area where the recycling center and that area would be all cut as well?
Yeah, everything that's airport road or airport property to the west of airport road, that's all gonna get clear cut as well.
Okay. Okay, and then my question about the flights, it looks like the numbers so far this year are all down. 206 passengers total from 2023 through this point. Do you know what that's due to? That seems quite a bit.
There was a lot of weather nationwide that affected flights. So a lot of that from January, February, a lot of that is attributable to the fact that the hubs were closed and not the fact that the spokes were open. If you can't get through the hubs and get out from there, it doesn't matter if you can get out from the spoke like Alpena. Other than,
We don't continue on a trend downward.
I don't think that's going to happen because off the record. I was contacted by SkyWest and our new schedule that they wanted to put in place for the summer was atrocious. It's just horrid. So I beat my chest, screamed, yelled, cried, threw dirt up in the air, and finally they listened to me and they changed the schedule so that our morning flight is going to stay the same. Our afternoon flight is going to tighten back up more towards 1 o'clock. So that way there, the passengers leaving out of Alpena will be able to make the noon bank. The bank is when, if you've ever been sitting at Detroit Metro and nothing happens, and then all of a sudden airplanes are going everywhere, that's what they call a bank time. So that's when they start launching lots of aircraft. The Detroit bank happens at noon and at 4. So by adjusting our schedule the way they have, we're still going to keep the noon bank that we had, but now our passengers are going to have the ability to catch the 4 o'clock bank as well. So the schedule is more accommodating than what we have now.
That's helpful for connecting flights for sure.
The other thing that I had to comment on this, it's with the fuel sales, other than the SkyWest, every other fuel sale was down compared to previous month. And then the last thing that I'll comment on is, so we are approaching May. And I know you say you have a replacement for the Oshkosh coming this year.
It's going to be bid this year. So whether a lot of,
On this, the notes, it says replacement in 24.
that's when we're going to put in, we've already got the grants approved. That's when we put it out on the street for bids. There's been other airports reporting that there's so much business that they can't keep up with it. Plus Oshkosh sold their entire snow removal business to M&B companies. We can put it out there, have the money in our pocket, but if nobody bids on it to build it because they got too much work, that's the only thing that could interfere.
Well, and so I guess my comment is, so between forget what the other one is, that, what's the one that, Snow Go. Between the Snow Go and the Oshkosh, we're at the point where we have good weather. We cannot do what we did last year. Both of these things need to be operational by the time the snow flies, because, we're fortunate that we have the base there. And again, I know hopefully by winter weather, they'll have both their snow blowers up, but we cannot be dependent on them if they're not there. I mean, what the AJUA states is that they are not supposed to plow, blow, clear the commercial air places that are strictly commercial. They did that last year, again, out of the, if you will, the kindness of their heart. But I know from talking to those guys, what they went through, when you have one snow blower and you have we're fortunate that we only had two pretty major storms this past winter. If we had as much snow as they were predicting, the Farmer's Almanac was predicting going into the winter, we probably have been screwed. So my point is, last year, I didn't know about all these issues with the snow blower. So what I'm saying is, we need to make absolutely positively that both whatever blowers that we have are operational by the time we have winter again.
They are already operational, and as Commissioner Konashevsky can attest, it is painful trying to get somebody to help you with that Oshkosh snow blower.
Well, when he was done discussing that issue, I was going to just casually mention that I would definitely recommend soliciting a different vendor if you have the option. Because it's literally ridiculous.
Well, in the fact that, you know, we cannot be December and then the one snow blower that we have scrambling to try to find something. This is the time that we do it.
Right.
Because it's good weather, you figure out who's doing what, you know, get on their list or whatever and figure out what we're gonna do if we do have an issue, because we cannot have our snow equipment down for the winter.
And our biggest problem lies in the fact that nobody wants to touch the specialized end of it. We can get a diesel engine mechanic out there anytime to work on the two diesel engines on it. We can get transmission people out there to work on the transmissions. But the specialized aspect, such as the snow blower head, the hydraulic system that powers it, all that, that's the stuff that nobody wanted to touch, which is why we had to go as far afield as we did to try to get somebody. And I would say that they didn't do as good a job as we had hoped they would, because the rest of the work was accomplished locally.
Well, again, the main thing is, you know what you went through last year. We cannot be in a position where we were last year. So I would do whatever you need to do to make sure that we have something lined up. You know, we have a contact that if we do have a problem, as we roll into next winter, maybe we'll have a new blower. I doubt it, but we cannot do what we did last year again.
I have it on good authority that CNS Carriers is probably very proficient at snow blower repair now.
Yeah, right. And-
That's the only snowblower company? Can you,
Well, M&B, so
anybody else, can't you?
Oshkosh got sold out to M&B. And so, but somebody, and again, like I said, we're at a point where this is the perfect time that we have plenty of time to go try to find somebody that's capable of working. I know when I talked to Sam, he said there was someone up in the UP that was a mechanic for that. I don't know if that's the person that
That was up in Gwynn.
yeah.
We asked them several times to send a mechanic down. They wouldn't send a mechanic down. We offered to put it onto a lowboy and send it up to them. They have enough of their own work. They were non-committal towards us.
Well, like I said, either way, we cannot be in a position that we were last year. We need to have someone that is willing and guaranteed to work on our stuff if we have an issue, because we don't want to be down the only snow blower that we have and then have a ton of snow like we did. No, well, not like we did, but two good snowstorms like we had last year, this year. So.
I think we'll be in better shape this year. I mean, the reality at the end of the day, the ball was dropped. Okay, so we picked it up and we're in better shape now. We just have to make sure that we have a better grip on the ball this year.
Yep.
Reality at the end of the day. So now, you know, this Oshkosh is operational and now the Snow Go is operational. I definitely think that you should talk with Mick and get that back in the rotation of a really good summer maintenance, because that is our fall guy. And it worked well. You know, we dug it out of the snowbank in the middle of the winter. Now we have it up and running. Let's do the maintenance that we can to make sure that it is a really good backup plan. And then we should be in far better shape this year. You know, it is a ridiculous struggle to find someone to work on that thing. And, you know, the people that did come up here, they came up, they spent 4 hours working on it, charged us almost $7,000, which is ludicrous. And I called them and never got a call back a couple of times. So just, you know, we all know that we need to do better this year. I think we're on the right track. Hopefully we can get a replacement in motion, but we certainly want to go into the winter better than we did last year. And
Just for the board's knowledge, this is the tween time. We're in between snow and we're not cutting grass yet. So this is the time when everything gets serviced. All the fluids get dropped, all the filters get changed. It happens every year. So, and then for the snow equipment, it gets put back inside and it stays inside and the grass cutting equipment comes out. So.
Yep. So I think we're all on the same page with that. I think we're good there. Anything else from anybody?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with the equipment. A family member recently had a bad accident in the family. And they had to be flown from Alpena General to, what, Midland? Flown from here to Midland. The chopper had another person. So they had to drive. The ambulance took this person to the airport. And a plane was waiting at the airport to take this person to Midland. Could you tell me, do we have a special plane or something like this, or?
No, we do not. Mid-Michigan, Life Flight, and there's one other company in Michigan. They maintain their own fleets of helicopters and fixed wing aircraft for this. So when the hospital has somebody that needs to be medevac, they contact them directly, dispatch whatever aircraft they need.
That's nice to know. I did not know that.
Yeah, so, and in the wintertime, they don't fly helicopters. Helicopters are too fragile when it's really cold out, so that's why you're relying on fixed wing aircraft.
And that stays right here at the airport?
No, they're stationed at different spots in Michigan, so that they're rapid response. More often than not, the aircraft that come to Alpena for medevac fly over from Traverse City.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I think we're all set. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. That's all for the construction meeting.
That's at 11.
Good morning.
Wes?
Status report, nothing changed with the restrooms, as of yet. Weather's warming up. I expect that will be complete by, by the next meeting. The merchants building repairs, we've spent all the money available. We've got FRP up, all the walls, floors, ceilings have been painted, excluding the kitchen. There is a few other things that popped up. One, the drinking fountain wasn't working and wasn't worth replacing, so we took it out. It actually hadn't been working in probably 10 years. So I put together a cost estimate for replacing a few more ceiling tile in the rental area, replacing those 5 windows. The seals are all broken and they're foggy looking. Putting in a drinking fountain, a bottle filling station, and changing the restroom and hallway areas over to LED lighting. The cost of that's going to be about $6,800. I guess I'm just looking for guidance. If you would like us to move forward with that, it would require a transfer of funds from the Building and Grounds Fund over to that merchants building repair line item. And we could fit it in as we go and continue with that. If not, I can simply add it to the budget for consideration for next year.
Is that rented out a lot this summer, the merchants building?
I don't know that.
Who takes care of that, Patrick?
Patrick does, yeah.
Okay.
I know he does have a wedding, I believe it's in June, coming up, a wedding reception. What else he's got scheduled exactly, I don't know.
Okay.
I know he's got one actually scheduled, whatever weekend the Blues Festival is, he's got a wedding in there that weekend also.
Okay. Do you know the funds that are in that fund? Are they all allocated for something else already?
I don't know that. I know there was money transferred for the district court flooring project, a little over 16,000. I know the original money for this year, the 5,200 that we spent on the merchants building came out of that fund. What else has been spoken for? I don't know.
Okay.
If there's money in the fund, that'd be all right, but if it's not, then
We'd have to postpone it until next year.
Who does the budget for that building? Does that come out of your budget?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Is that something that you could look into, Jennifer, to see if the money that is there is allocated, or if there's, I assume there's probably no sort of surplus.
Yep.
And unfortunately, you know, it's a double-edged sword. It is early in the year, so we worry about spending the money. However, it is early in the year, and if people are going to rent it, we would want to get it done. So,
It's not anything that's gonna keep us from renting the building. It's not that. It's just when you get the building to the point we have these things pop right in your face when you walk in.
yeah. And if you don't do a few little things here and there, they all add up to,
A lot.
yeah, then we're trying to decide, do we condemn it or, so we don't want to get there either, but. Okay, so, I guess we'll, should we, I guess we'll talk about that at the next facilities meeting?
Sure.
Unless anybody else has anything to add or anything with that?
You know, the question, because it seems like this has been on here forever. How long has that restroom been being worked? It seems like it's been almost 2 years now.
But the accident damage, I think, has been actually longer ago than that. The biggest problem was getting a mason contractor in there. First getting the money, insurance company, and then getting a contractor to do it. Everything in the building is done except for some painting. And the reason we're not doing that is because of the temperature outside. And I'll say the same thing for the merchants building. The exterior doors on the merchants building still need to be painted. We need a day when it's warm enough to prop the doors open, get some paint on them, let them dry up some so that when we close them, they don't stick shut. So, but as soon as we get a little bit warmer weather, that'll all be done. The pool heating system, the duct heaters for the men's and women's locker room, that job is done. Repair of the ceiling in the small courtroom, that is.
I want to talk about the pool a minute.
Okay,
Could you please tell me, how much did all the repairs come to?
well, the duct heaters was 7,000 and some dollars. And then there was an exhaust fan that was replaced, and I think that was about $3,000. That was all money that was previously approved and transferred over into their budget, so
Is this the 25 that we moved over?
this is part of that 25, yes.
Okay. So it didn't go over the 25.
Well, the 25 was to pay a couple of outstanding invoices from last year. This project, and also there was some other stuff, I
I
think.
think we also included some extra money for payroll because we were already running low in that line.
So, no, the work that I had anything to do with, they did for what was quoted, the money that I presented.
Pool's gonna give us money back.
Who died and went to heaven?
So yeah, along with the small courtroom ceiling, there was a couple bubbles in the plaster, main floor by the men's restroom. We popped them open and patched them, and they're done too. The district court improvements are actually moving along pretty good. We're about a day ahead of schedule right now. They should be installing, 5 offices across the hall from the main district court are complete. All the furniture's back in, people are back in and working. The floor in the district court, judges' chambers, court stenographer, that carpet has all been removed. Prep work was done to the big secretarial pool yesterday. He'll be laying flooring in there today, so we can start putting that office, the modular furniture back together. The materials that Chrissy had ordered from Integrity were delivered day before yesterday, so we have that on hand. We should be good we should have that wrapped up by the end of the day Friday, so. And the spring cleanups began, Whole launches are in, next week, we're gonna get the water turned on to the dump station. A lot of, side piles have been cleaned up and trash picked up, the guys are taking the snow blower off the Kubota today and putting the broom on, so it's ongoing.
Good.
I did get with Ginnup's, it's not on here, but new Kubota, there was some stuff that they had to order for that. So that's in the works.
Okay.
Don't have a delivery date, but it's in the works.
Gotcha. All right, this building behind us, the 7-Eleven building, all that stuff is done, right? There's nothing outstanding on that? Okay, good. Have you had to go back in there with any issues with the new tenants?
We did have, and it wasn't due to anything that they did, but one of the circulating pumps, and it was only a couple years, well, it was actually just over a year old because it was just out of warranty. But the bearings went out on that and caused different things to happen. It's been repaired. It was about $3,000. So that was taken care of. They did have one day they called me and said they had some water backing up on the floor, but don't worry about it. They had their crew coming over to take a look at it. I never heard back from them again, so I guess it was just a for your information kind of thing, but.
Okay.
But no, other than that, all's been quiet.
Good. And Patrick's house, the caretaker's house, that's all done now, everything's.
Yes, yes.
Good.
He did have one of the windstorms, he had a couple pieces of roof gutter blow down off the back of the house. We gotta get that put back up yet, but
Good.
Now that ain't bad for the windstorm we had.
yeah.
Yeah.
We did have I'll call it a utility pole because that's what it is, but the only thing on it is a speaker for the arena. The wind it was rotten, took it off right at the ground, blew it down. So we'll have to get before the horse shows start for the summer, we'll have to get a 4x6 and put it in and remount that speaker and stuff, but no big deal.
Okay. All right. It's there with, hopefully sooner than later, a replacement coming for Mary Catherine. Is there anything that needed to be addressed in her old office,
And who's old enough?
Mary Catherine's office? Before someone goes to move in there?
Nothing that I'm aware of. There is still a lot of stuff in there that I don't know if we should go through or leave in there for the next administrator to go through.
Okay. I guess I'll leave that up to you and them.
We can talk about it, look at it.
Maybe you and John can see.
I'll be free next week.
Okay.
And if you would like, we can get in there and put some fresh paint on the wall and that sort of stuff.
I don't, unless there's issues, I don't think you need to. I just didn't know if she had any outstanding issues when she left or whatever.
Not that I'm aware of.
Good. Okay. All right, anybody else have anything for Pat? I'm not, sorry, for Pat, for Wes? Don't throw anything at me, Wes. All right,
Alrighty.
thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see anybody here from the ice rink.
Okay.
Can we just carry this on to next facilities?
Well, yes, I mean, she wants to get rid of them. One of the questions that I have, does anyone know what she's gonna do with them? Just throw them in the trash, donate them, what?
Said they weren't safe to use, so
What do you do with them?
get rid of them.
You
Throw 'em in
keep
the
throwing
trash?
them in
I
there.
can tell you before they came to us. And we tried to sell them in one of our sales that we had. You know, I think we sold like 3 pairs of them for $1.50 or something. And at that time, I think the rest of them went to St. Vincent's or Salvation Army or somewhere.
She wrote that she's asking for permission to dispose of the old skates.
Yeah, and that's where my question is, what do you do with it when you dispose it? Do you just throw it in the dumpster?
If they're unsafe, I would hope they just
Mhm.
throw them in the trash.
Well, they shouldn't even be there if they're unsafe. I mean, they should have been gone before now.
So Why don't we just dispose of them? Just tell them to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they bought, I mean, you obviously in that picture, you can see the difference. So any of the old ones, I would say just dispose, especially if they already got replacements
Mhm.
for the ones that they want to dispose of. So should we make a motion on that?
Yeah, I would say,
I'll make a motion to dispose of the old skates at the Northern Lights Arena.
okay.
I'll second that.
So we've got a motion made by Commissioner Kozlowski and a second by Commissioner LaHaye to allow the Northern Lights Arena to properly dispose of these skates. We don't need any putting on that, right? Okay, good. So motion passed. We'll move on. See here. The recycling monthly reports. Has everybody had an opportunity to look these over? John, did you have any questions on these or anything?
Now I get to go see him tomorrow.
Okay, okay.
Apparently, well, the only thing, well, I guess I will say, so we, and again, it's not, but the reports from Northeast Michigan Material Management Authority, it's with the contract. So I got an email yesterday afternoon, and apparently the changes that we proposed, which, and I sent her an email last night saying what exactly would cause you, what changes did we propose? Because they gave us a list of what they wanted to do. And then when I reached out to my attorney to ask if the contract looked acceptable for the county, she recommended that we tweaked a couple things. So one of the biggest things that I thought was they wanted to have 120-day notice for us to give them 120-day notice that we're going to kick them out, if you will. And then they had 120 days after that notice then to get out. So the lawyer said, you don't need a 120-day notice to let them know. You give them a 30-day notice and then they have 120 days to vacate. That was the one. The other thing, and again, we discussed this, was that they would leave the property as it is when they walked away. So whatever improvements, whatever facilities that they put on the property would continue to stay there. We were not going to require them. And that was to their benefit too, because then it didn't make sense. So I'm not sure what would have caused them, or what she thinks would cause them not to be able to apply for any financial grants or whatever. So we'll see. Hopefully she'll email me back, and I'll find out more tomorrow.
Okay.
I can bring that next week.
Okay. We're good. See here. Okay, we've already went through the fairgrounds report. And there's no public comment, it appears. Is there anybody on Zoom that has any comment or anything? Okay, I guess we'll look for a motion.
We don't talk about the recycling, or we just bypass that.
That's what we were just talking about.
Oh, but I mean, that's it.
Well,
Nobody's here.
We can make a motion to receive the reports. I can make that motion.
Yeah.
okay, got it.
Nobody's here to tell us how it's going. Or nothing. John, you're on that board, correct?
Yeah, and so is Bill.
Okay, so what is going on?
I just said, with the lease. So they gave us some recommendations, we changed them and we sent it back to them. So now it's in their court. Recycling day's coming up,
Right, I know all that, but I mean,
nothing major.
I
Oh.
heard that a lot of people left on 32 that no longer working there.
I haven't heard that. So obviously Stan
He's
resigned.
gone.
Yep. And then they
And they
put
laid off.
Brad, the assistant manager, in Stan's position.
Right,
They are creating a lead person, and they said they were gonna take that from within. I haven't heard somebody else left. Did you hear that?
There is one that is going to be, yes.
So I'll find out
You-
tomorrow.
Yeah,
We know why everybody's leaving?
Probably the same thing as animal control.
the same problem.
I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing that out there. I'll find out.
Okay.
Well, I think with animal control, that's a revolving door with recycling center. I think maybe if, I don't know, I haven't heard anything,
It's
but
conflict, I heard.
maybe one or two people, so.
Yeah,
Do they have a new truck coming or ordered?
Yep, so they ordered, well, I think it's supposed to be here like within the next few months. They're hoping to get it.
Said they'd get it pretty quick now.
Yeah,
We're expecting it in December, but they got notice that they could get it quicker.
so one thing that I will say,
what kind of truck? I mean,
a big truck.
okay.
Yeah.
For garbage.
Well, it's the thing that
Oh,
pulls that big container.
Called a roll-off.
Yeah,
Oh, that's why that they haven't been picked up? I
no,
mean,
they should be.
well, there's the truck they got now, that's marginal. In the shop more than it's on the road. So they got this new one coming and then, they'll be able to do a better job with it.
Well, and the other thing too is when their truck is down, they have, if you get a contract or whatever, that they can call up
GFL?
one of the two, I forget if it's.
Silver Streak, I think they were.
Silver Streak, yep. Silver Streak, and I think it is, so there's two options. And then one of them charges, I forget what it is, but one was a better option than the other. And then hopefully we'll have this new truck. One of the things that I will tell you with this is, and I do have a problem with this. So their board, so tomorrow is the meeting and there's election of their executive committee or whatever you want to call it. So there's 4 people on the executive committee. The chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. And the problem that I have with that is we have 2 people from the city that serve on that executive board, and I do not think that should be the way it is. I think there should be at least, because to me, if the executive board is making a decision, 50% of that executive board is the city.
2 from the city.
And I talked to one of the township supervisors, actually the chair of the recycling, and he has the same thoughts as that as well. So tomorrow, the elections will be up for grabs, and I have a bad feeling I'll get a new job tomorrow.
So that's a 4-person board?
Huh?
That's a
No, it's not the executive board is a 4-person board, but it's one representative. So it's 2 representatives for the county, the city, and the township, and then 1 representative from each of the townships. And right now, we have 2 people from the city that serve on the executive board.
You have the city manager and mayor serves on board, so that was, maybe that's a little too much.
Yeah.
So like I said, I talked to Ken Lobert and he kind of had the same, well, that was one of the first things that I commented on when I got on there was why do you have your executive board with 2 people from the same entity, municipality or whatever? So like I said, I have a bad feeling that I'll get a new job tomorrow. So. Sure.
I won't be there, I will be up on.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah, so, well, you know how that goes, right?
Yeah,
So those people that aren't at the meeting, they get nominated for a position.
Yeah,
that's all right. I just,
I could,
something I have to get done, so.
Bill,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
so do you want me to?
Do you want someone to go in your replacement?
I don't care. You wanna go?
I'll go for you, Bill.
Okay, it's
Let's go.
at 9:30 at the township, Alpena Township Hall.
Okay.
Yeah, don't get there at 9 like I did last month.
Yeah, I don't have a problem going to the cycling meeting at all.
I know. Oh, boy.
I don't recycle, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know. Well, and that's it. That's all I
I
got.
just want to be there to vote.
I'm sure you do.
Okay, public comment. I guess we'll look for a motion to meeting.
I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Support.
Okay, got so motion made to adjourn by Commissioner Lay, support made by Commissioner Fournier. Close the meeting. Thank you, everyone.